Hello Thomas fans and welcome to another video from channel 1995 Express. I'm your favorite host Nigel and with me is my fellow host Stan.
Hello Nigel.
Now Stan, what will we be discussing about in this video?
Well Nigel, we'll be looking at Thomas and Friends' most recent special, The Great Race.
Oh, lovely show! You know, I play a major role in that extravaganza, Stan. I'm the racing announcer.
I know, Nigel.
Anyways, what's next on the list?
Well, next on the list we'll also be talking about Thomas and the Great Railway Show.
What, the engine and the event?
No, this is the Christopher Audrey book from the 1990s.
Ah yes, the most popular book from the second generation of Railway series books. Now, remind me Stan, what's the significance of this particular book?
Well as serving as 10% of the inspiration for the official special, this book is serving as 100% inspiration to 1995 Express's most recent idea.
What, the idea of adapting that book into a Railway series teleseries special as a potential follow-up to The Adventure Begins? Lovely film, by the way.
Indeed, Nigel.
I tell you, Stan, that kid has got some brilliant ideas.
Yes, but he's still rather new into getting into the Thomas fan community. He still has yet to prove himself before his talents are recognized.
And how is the little blighter getting on?
Well, he's only had one story that was a success, and he's played a couple of roles in other fan-made productions, but he still has big goals ahead of him.
He certainly has, Stan. Reminds me of someone in particular.
Yes, he's a bit like...
Don't tell me! Mavis!
Nope, Mavis may have big ideas, but they're not always agreeable with the others.
Toby found that out the hard way.
Indeed, Nigel. And also, may I point out that 1995 Express is symbolically the shunting engine in the fandom?
Subtle hints there, Stan. Is it Thomas?
Yes, Nigel, he's a bit like Thomas, full of big ideas and occasionally rather cheeky, as evident in his many questions and answers videos.
Oh, speaking of, didn't his channel recently hit 1,000 subscribers?
Yes, congratulations to the young sport. You know, it's amazing what can happen within a month.
Yes, he's never had such a rise in subscribers before. How did he do it, Stan?
Well, it could have had to do with him acting as a savior for the fandom.
Savior, Stan?
Yes, remember that obscene controversies from last year's October, said 17.
Oh, please don't get me started on that one, Stan. You know, the humor's not all that bad, but it would have been better suited in a different project and not as the minimum of the entire video.
Yes, well, 1995 Express blew up Shed 17 in his latest Q&A video. He later posted the footage separately on its own, and it has received a lot of popularity from fans, even those who like the actual video.
Can you imagine? Well, at least Shed 17's not an official product.
Yes, Nigel, neither is it a plausible one, let alone possible.
Stan! Nigel! You're getting off track here. Sorry, kid, but we'd like to discuss about the events of the world. We haven't talked about that since the bit with the animals.
Which is why I took you guys in. But if you want to do this, you've got to do this right. The discussions here are about the Great Race and the Great Railway Show, not overemphasizing how great I am or how I blew up Shed 17.
Oh, don't be so modest, kid.
Oh, come off it, Stan. No, I'm Stan, that's Nigel.
Whatever! Hey, Stan, that reminds me. Are we even getting paid for this?
Don't know. Are we?
I don't think we ever discussed about economics.
Well, if no, I'm not getting paid, I'm out of here. At least the Thomas Creative Collective gave us a decent amount for their videos.
Stan, wait for me! Well, I guess it's back to the regular format again. With the newly released promotional videos for the Great Race, it's becoming more evident what the special is about. It definitely centers on the Great Railway Show, which is being hosted in the United Kingdom. There are a bunch of different competitions at the Railway Show, those being the race, best decorated engine, best shunting, and etc. With all that said, it makes the Great Race much more different than Starlight Express. Someone recently did ask a question on my last video, which brings up an interesting topic. There are no engines from Africa. Yeah, if you go over the list of international engines, none of them hail from Africa. Why is that? I mean, I tried to think of some answers myself, but they all seem to be already disqualified for the logic of Thomas and Friends. the engines are meter gauge, but Thomas and Friends rescales engines all the time. The engines are fast, but there are a lot of engines that are very powerful. It's odd that Africa is the only continent that hasn't given any engines to showcase in the Great Railway Show. You have 5 engines from Europe, Etienne from France. Booyah! Finally I pronounced something correct in French. 2 points for that, I guess. Anyway, Etienne from France, Gina from Italy, Frida from Germany, Axel from Belgium, and Flying Scotsman from England, plus the few engines of Sodor. 1 engine from Russia, that being Ivan. 3 engines, if not 4, from Asia, Ashima and Rajiv from India and Yon Bao from China. 1 from Oceania, Shane from Australia, and 3 engines from America, Raul from Brazil, Carlos from Mexico, and Vinny from North America. Canada! Shut up, Deadpool! You know very well that Canada is part of the North America. You know that! Now make us happy and have a battle with Freakazoid. It's been like this since the last video I posted about this special. People complaining about Vinny's country of origin. Okay, let's go over the facts of what we know about Vinny. Vinny is a 484 configuration class U4 steam locomotive built for the Grand Trunk Western Railway, which is connected to the Canadian National Railway. However, he was built by Lima Locomotive Works, which was in Ohio, and the Grand Trunk Western ran in the states of Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. So, I don't care whether the GTW was co-owned by Canadian National or not. Neither do I care whether Vinny can be considered to be a Yank or a Canuck. He's still a bloody American! Both the United States and Canada are part of the North American continent, so no matter what country you decide to associate him with, Vinny's still a bloody American! So, to those of you 2 or 3 people who posted comments on the last video in attempts to correct me, it's done. Got that? It's done. I don't want any arguments, I don't want any complaints, and I don't want anyone tapping any more comments on their keyboard saying, Vinny's not from America, he's Canadian! It's done. Vinny's American. We've ticked that box. We're not going there again, and I'm not going to give my support to him for the Great Railway Show because of the fact that he'll be portrayed as a bully. I'd rather give my support to Great Britain, and Vinny's not the best looking engine out there. I mean, look at him! With those sinister eyes, those narrowed brows, that bulbous nose, and that massive chin. Not to mention the handrails that wrap around his face. He's just so horrid looking. What's the point of those handrails anyway? Of course, that's my opinion and it might not be important. You can support Team Vinny if you like, and kindly leave me out of any more discussions about him. All good? All good. Moving on. It's rather odd that Africa should be omitted from having any participating engines, considering the fact that I have talked about how relatable steam engines were to Africans in a past video. Heck, even Starlight Express lacked African nationalities. Sure, they had Papa McCoy, but he's mostly African American, and even then he didn't represent Africa. He just stood in for the United Kingdom when Prince of Wales was scrapped. Or, in some productions, Papa McCoy didn't represent any national country because Prince of Wales was completely removed from the productions. Maybe I'm overreacting, I certainly don't want to start a confliction, but still, I did mention in my last Q&A vid that it would have been nice to have an Arabian steam engine. Arabian countries include Northern Africa, so why not? An Arabian steam engine would have been fabulous, with its fancy lettering, decorative lining, exotic face with entrancing eyes, and a mischievous smile and a sweet caramel voice. Caramel. But we didn't get that. Instead, we have 2 engines from India, which isn't bad, but why does India get to send 2 engines? Then again, the United Kingdom has a multiple of engines, so I shouldn't complain. But with all that said, I don't think it likely that Thomas in the Great Railway Show would get the chance to appear as the second Railway Series television series special. I'm also having to scratch off the option of it appearing as a potential Thomas Creative Collective special, and that's for 2 reasons. 1, Their latest miniseries, Fast and the Fizzling Fireboxes, is also centered around the Great Railway Show. Whether it'll be a different one from the Great Race or the same, I don't know. 2. They've surprisingly introduced Mallard, and I have strong feelings that how they'll portray him will be entirely different from how I portray him, and just having two different personalities in the same canon is obviously not going to sit well. Remember seasons 8 to 16? So, yeah. Real smooth, Creative Collective! Totally blew away the chance of making this as a special under your range. But it's not all that bad. Look, I've still got two other options, those being making the special as an SIF production or making it as my own collaborative project. I can still make this happen. But if I'm going to have to work on 3 films simultaneously, I'm going to need to have a good cooperative collective to help aid me. Seeing as how no one has contributed to the little test that I put out to win the chance of proofreading it, I'm just going to pick a specific number of people to proofread the script, depending on who has said in their past videos that they'd like to see the Great Railway Show adapted. Also, I don't want any more YouTubers posting comments saying, "I'll get to work on this project straight away." You don't even know how the script goes, let alone know what my requirements are. So, before I go, I would like to ask anyone if they know what's a good way to raise money for this type of project. Seeing as how there will be the National Collection involved, I am going to need to raise a bit in order to make purchases separate from my other film projects. Alright, that's all for me today. And I'll speak to you guys again in the next video. Cheerio!